Indeed, he does. So was the other match that I was curious how it would go. I was hoping it would be a little bit closer, but hey, it is Rung we're talking about. He is that TVT sniper, so I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. But yeah, he's going to be waiting there. But till then, we have our series in front of us here on Oceanborn, where over here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right, we of course have our red Terran player coming out from the land of Japan, representing Japan as well as Korea, as well as his team, Hyper One. We have HonMonO.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Gaimin Gladiators. It is SHIN.
That is a team that I always forget exists until I cast until we cast SHIN.
Is he the only player in SC2, I think?
In StarCraft, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I think they mostly focus on Valorant, question mark? Valorant or Dota, from what I remember.
Yeah, one of the other esports. But shout out to Gaimin Gladiators, of course. I mean, there's a lot of, I guess, newer teams in the scene, and, we'll see if they maybe decide to pick up some more players in the near future. It would be exciting to see them potentially in the future season of WTL. There are rumors and murmurings that there will be another season of World Team League after the one that's about to wrap up, and that might incentivize some teams to, bolster their rosters and get things going as well. So, exciting times ahead.
Yeah. Team Virtus Mouse Gladiators.
Or what about the Gaimin Falcons? The Gladiator Falcons or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go like, "Are you not entertained, Skra?"
Yes. Be amazing. Yeah, we'll see what kind of amalgamation of teams we get to see in the potential upcoming season of WTL. But for now, we're settling into our TVZ. Standard opener out of SHIN. We did have some more creative builds by NXZ earlier, but this time it's just going to be a hatch gas pool here. Standard setup from our Zerg player this time.
God damn it.
Oh.
It's always on Oceanborn.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. Have it on Oceanborn as well, right?
Scan on repair, yeah.
Yeah.
Crimson Core was fine.
Yeah, so we do apologize for some of the technical issues that we've been having here. I mean, not just Yaku, but myself dropping frames as well. Do apologize, but we'll try to get it sorted. We'll do our best. You know what I will say though,
have to work with what we've got.
Yeah. Is that if you're casting WTL over the weekend, clean feed.
Hey, clean feed.
Yeah.
There
you go.
Imagine the clean feed goes down.
No. But I guess we will be able to jump back in without too much issue, and I guess maybe for the upcoming matches, if it's on Oceanborn, maybe if that is the issue, then you cast a non-Oceanborn games.
Yeah,
I guess.
I can't be underwater.
Yeah.
What I'm realizing.
Under the sea. Merge. But for now, we do have our E-Way block here at the third base. Queen's going to be able to shut it down and force a cancel, but this is a nice delay on the third. Again, HonMonO just being as annoying as possible. Going to be pulling away. We'll delay the third base, but is now in production. And SHIN behind this isn't really showing us any sign of aggression. There's no extra gases, there's no fast lair. Nothing too crazy coming out from our Zerg player here. Just trying to keep up. As I say that though, the Roach Warren is thrown down, hidden behind the natural mineral line. Oh boy. So we do hide the tech, we do hide the Roach Warren. HonMonO, for the time being, is distracted by the third base. He is unaware of what is going on. He is in the dark, and we'll see if HonMonO can piece it all together. Behind this, it looks like it's going to be a 3CC 2-1-1. We just saw this versus NXZ. We just saw this versus Ryan on Crimson Core. So the same build here from HonMonO, but again, we'll see if he can get a read on what SHIN is up to, because SHIN is being quite cheeky here, even going for an insanely fast lair. fast layers on the way for SHIN. Likewise, should be working towards roach speed, maybe even drop a lord, similar to the all-in that we just saw attempted by Ryan on Crimson Court. Creep Tumor is going to be going down. We do have Stim on the way for HonMonO again. Is working on a Stim timing, is working on Medivacs, will soon be active on the map, but is going to be lacking a lot of tanks and a lot of units in general early on. Is going to be vulnerable. HonMonO is going to be a little bit vulnerable here. The third base is getting up. Now, SHIN is droning. He does have 5 roaches on the way, but it looks like SHIN only intends to be safe with these roaches. It looks like he is not going for an all-in. Roach speed is on the way, and we have the roaches, but we're not making any more roaches behind this. So we're calming things down. Looks like a safety roach opener. Roach speed is still on the way though, so I'm curious if SHIN even saturates his 4th base. I'm curious if he cuts workers a little bit earlier and then commits with a +1 timing with roach speed. That is going to be available. So we'll keep an eye on SHIN. HonMonO behind this, getting his 3rd base up and running. 3rd CC is now on the way. Medivacs are on the horizon, moving out with a Stim with those Marines. Until then, SHIN is getting a 2nd Evo chamber. Okay, this tells us that SHIN is working towards a longer game. It's working towards a longer game, is building up and working towards 1-1, potentially getting into Link Bane Roach Ravager. The aggressive nature of SHIN isn't really going to be shown too much here in Game 1. We're calming things down. Meanwhile, HonMonO is going to be the first to move out. Again, the Medivacs have arrived. We have our Marines. And we can soon be active. And we saw how HonMonO can just pop off a drop play against Ryan against NXZ. We'll see how he does here against SHIN. So Queens are getting in position. Creep is spreading quite nicely. Again, because of the opener, there's barely any Hellions. So the creep has been unimpeded for the time being. You can see HonMonO going for a split push. Double drop on the right. Hellions on the left. The drop is going to be denied. SHIN keeps up at the same time. Hellions are diving into the natural. Yeah, they go for the dive. SHIN does respond. But not fast enough. Drones are going to get roasted. And so far, not bad. We're going to get 4 drone kills at the natural, getting up to 5. One more volley. 7 drones going down. Not bad at all. Bearing in mind that these Hellions, they do not scale well into the mid-game, so throwing them away for 7 drones is a very good trade. So HonMonO, he trades them away nicely. But when it comes to the bigger picture here, SHIN saves his 4th. The 4th base is getting up and running, and SHIN is building up towards the mid-game. HonMonO back at home doing the same, taking extra gases. 2nd factory's on the way. Unlike against Ryan, there is no ARAX. No ARAX here from HonMonO. He's just building up, getting up to saturation on 3 bases, and we should soon be seeing a 4th CC. So HonMonO is being less aggressive and less committed than we saw previously. Meanwhile, SHIN massing up roaches, rallying or spreading them out between his bases. I do love that. I mean, the weak point of roaches is how immobile they are, but SHIN, he's ready. He's at the 4th, he's at the 3rd, he's in between the natural and the 3rd base. He's ready for those drops. So SHIN taking a defensive stance. And has cut workers at 67. I mentioned before that I was curious if he was going to join up his 4th. The 4th base is empty. The 4th is empty, and SHIN, he is injecting his heart out. That's a lot of injects. We're going all in. SHIN, he's going for a 3-base all in. He's cutting workers at 67. I was curious if he would, and he is. We're just cutting workers early on, and HonMonO doesn't know. HonMonO's in the dark. He's just now getting into his 4th CC, throwing down extra Vaxes. HonMonO's getting ready for a longer game. SHIN is not. SHIN is almost maxed. On the Miles. Miles don't quite connect. Roach is rallying across the map. The army is spotted. And what do we have at home to defend? We have how many tanks? We have 3. 2 on the high ground, 1 on the low ground. Only 3 tanks. That's a lot of Ravagers. Raxes are denied. We're going for the 3rd base. A bit of a conservative kind of assault here from SHIN, but there we go. He denies the 4th, forces a cancel. And the 3rd base is getting low. The Biles! Oh my god. Biles do connect. Base barely survives. And now we're pushing in. We have just greater access to the main army. Poison being pulled. The tanks are doing a lot of the back line, but we get 20 SCVs. 20 SCVs go down. The tank is going to be piled. Ooh, the Medivacs as well. Yeah, SHIN making great use of these Ravagers. And the base is going to go down. Oh my, he snipes the 3rd. The 3rd base does fall, and now HonMonO is stuck on 2 bases. He lost his 4th, he lost his 3rd base, and SHIN from here can back off and drone. He isn't, but he could. Could just back off, takes down another tank, still rallying more roaches across the map. And SHIN, he has momentum. He knows how close he is to breaking HonMonO. We have a handful of tanks left. More roaches have arrived. SHIN pushing in. And he's going to bring down another tank. Oh, there's 4 tanks left, 2 on the high ground. Another tank's going to be going down. You can see SHIN, he's gaining ground, stutter stepping forward. And he's going to get the final tank on the low ground. Medivac as well. And there's only 2 tanks left. Meanwhile, HonMonO is killing his own CC. No! Kills his own CC at the end. And SHIN will take game number 1. GG.
GG.
I know you didn't see that, Yaku, but HonMonO, he stimmed.
I heard the panic in your voice.
He stimmed.
I could imagine it.
He stimmed his entire army and pulled the boys, and he focused on his own natural. I think it was intentional. I don't know. I'll be honest, because it.
You know what?
He didn't just attack it once. He stayed on it and he just killed it from full HP.
Yeah. Until further notice, I'm gonna assume it was intentional.
It was like a power move. It's like he sees SHIN's army. He just kills himself.
Exactly. You think you're gonna kill me?
Nah.
Nah, bruh.
I'm gonna kill myself. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do? SHIN's like, oh god, what are you doing?
He's like, well, now I don't want to kill you. You're gonna kill yourself.
Here we go. We're now getting into our next game. We're getting into game number 2, not on Oceanborn.
Yes, a map that's a little more dry, so hopefully that doesn't short circuit my client? Question mark. I scanned and repaired, so hopefully that fixed things. Here we are on Golden Aura. We're in the top left-hand corner of the map, so all the way in the top left, we have our red Terran player coming down from the land of Japan, representing Japan, as well as Korea, as well as his team Hyper One. He is, of course, our red Terran player, our most honorable, HonMonO.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player going for a pool first. The blue Zerg representing Gaiman Gladiators. It is SHIN.
Here we go. I heard the Warcraft 3 wolf as you zoomed in on SHIN as well, so I don't think there is one on this map, but maybe I'm going mad.
Are you saying you heard that in your brain?
I'm pretty sure I heard it with my ears, but chat back me up on this.
I did not
or
hear...
it could be that my client is bugged.
I did not hear the wolf back.
Or it could be further a further indication that my client is bugged, or it could be an indication that I'm bugged.
Or maybe there's wolves in Singapore.
There could be.
Yeah, maybe you did hear it with your ears, just, with your ears.
Yeah. I'm not sure if there are room for wolves, though, between all the uwu birds and the monkeys.
Well, that's why they're moving into the apartments.
Oh.
That's
They've been driven from their homes.
I know. Where else can they go? True.
They've been driven from the tree lines by the monkeys. They've been driven from the skies by the uwu birds.
Yeah.
They can't go into the sea.
Yeah,
apparently jellyfish are moving in.
There you go. And really, that's the noises that's been waking you up late at night, Yaku. It's the wolves.
Yeah. I thought it was general degenness, or neighbors arguing, or sirens blaring, or alarms going off, car alarms. I know, there were wolves.
Really, it's all just their plan to make people move out of the area so they can move in.
Exactly.
Layers.
Like an ogre.
Yes, like Shrek. As for now,
so I didn't quite get to So I didn't quite get to see what went down in game number 1, but from what I can remember, HonMonO did go for a very standard 1-1-1. This time, it's a 2-1-1.
Yeah. So in the last game was also a 3cc 2-1-1. He only had 4 Hellions,
okay.
which is why it was impressive. He got 7 drone kills with his 4 Hellions despite this. But yeah, the same build so far from HonMonO. I mean, we saw it in game 1. We also saw this from HonMonO in game 2 against Ryan, if you recall.
Yeah. I was about to say, I remember seeing this against... I remember seeing HonMonO take out the drones until I remembered that, no wait, that was the versus Ryan game.
There you go.
That I was thinking about.
Yeah. So SHIN is going to be settling in. As a reminder, it was a pool first open out of SHIN, so just a safe opener overall. Just going to be droning up, getting to his third base. Hellions are poking in, and SHIN, for the timing, is holding his own. And we'll see if he can keep up, and we'll see if he can minimize losses this time. I will say it is easier to defend on 3 bases here on Golden Aura. We speak about this quite often, but basically, to rotate between your third base and your natural with queens is quite easy, as they're right next to each other, you know, within the same screen, and you know, there's no ramp, there's no kind of long distance between them, so it's easy to rotate.
Yeah, it's not in a triangle, it's pretty much linear, so yeah, much easier to go back and forth. Conversely, your opponent, if they do want to dive between the bases and harass, they are going to have to go through a whole lot of creep to do so.
Exactly, which is also why we see a lot of gasless builds from Zerg players on this map. It's not gasless out of SHIN here, but if we were casting Dark, for example, and even several against Clem, was often going gasless on this map, just because you can afford to cut some corners and you can afford to defend with purely Queen.
Did they both lose their games when they did that versus their Terran opponents?
No, we don't have to talk about it. Okay, yeah, we don't. We've seen Dark defeat Clem on this map with that build. We've seen it happen.
Yeah, we've seen Dark defeat Clem, defeat Maru with that on this build, I suppose.
He likes his versions.
We've seen Cyril defeat Cure and Maru as well, using going gasless on this map.
Yeah, as the Hellions are being caught out. Nicely done here by SHIN. Likewise, he somehow gets in with a Ling. He gets a full scout, confirms the 2-on-1 setup in the main base as well. So SHIN is fully aware of what's going on and even gets an SCV.
Gonna get 2? No, gonna get just 1. A little awkward to see those Hellions idle there for a little while, but they did get back on it, and now the armory has finished up, so it looks like it is going to be... Did he do this on Oceanborn, a Hellbat Marine push?
He did not go for the armory last time. Okay, so...
Okay.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting setup here by HonMonO. Unfortunately, HonMonO did already lose some Hellions. He lost 2 Hellions earlier to the Lynx around, so this is going to be a little bit weaker. It's also possible that because the Hellions died, we might actually just not commit with the Hellbats.
Yeah, so it's a little bit odd, but... Okay, defensive Hellbats, not the worst idea that I've heard of. Going to be really useful against Ling run buys, which is something that SHIN has been known for.
Yeah, definitely. So we are going to be able to clear... we're going to try to clear up some creep, but SHIN, he's all over this, does respread. Behind this, SHIN is on 3-base saturation, 1-1 upgrades. It's going to be embracing Ling Bane. We saw Roach play out of SHIN in game 1, but this time it's going to be Ling Bane. We're going to be skipping out on the Roaches this time from our Zerg player.
Yeah, gonna go straight into, I imagine, Ultras, based on that Infestation Pit and that +1 melee on the way. Very Dark-esque, as we've alluded to.
Yeah, I mean, Ling Bane into Ultra is definitely viable and definitely something that SHIN can go for. We'll keep an eye on SHIN to see if he throws down a Hydroden once the Infestation Pits are done. If there is no Hydroden, then as you mentioned, the Ling Bane Ultra should be on the way here for SHIN.
As for the time being, the name of the game right now for SHIN is to just buy time. You know, he is more than happy to not push out across the map. He's got a lot of Lings and a lot of Banes, but that's mostly just a reaction to these drops that HonMonO's been thrown his way. SHIN is well aware that if he can just defend, spread his creep, saturate his bases, get to those I say Ultras, he's also getting a Hydroden just in case he needs to switch into Lurkers.
Yeah, as we mentioned, this is what we were waiting for. You know, if we didn't throw down any tech while the Hive was in production, then it should be Ultra, but we see the Hydroden, which tells us that most likely it's going to be Ling Bane Hydra into Lunker instead. So, yeah, SHIN, he did have options available to him, and the Hydras will definitely help out when it comes to anti-air.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point that you mentioned now. It's nothing more annoying to a Zerg player than just a Terran player who's able to bounce between bases with these medevacs. Yeah. I would know. I've been told many times after doing that against third players.
No. So we'll see if we can keep up. Meanwhile, speaking of drop play, we have a bit of a bailing drop being sent towards the third base of HonMonO, so a cheeky move here out of SHIN. Meanwhile, the main armies are dancing with each other. SHIN just trying to keep HonMonO distracted as here comes the drop! Up!
And quick reaction from HonMonO, but we'll see if that's actually going to be enough to save him. He loses 5 SCVs, but at this phase of the game, it is quite negligible. Somewhat negligible.
Yeah, not too bad defense here from HonMonO. Only losing 5 SCVs, as you mentioned, very nice defense. Meanwhile, he's still pushing forward, still maintaining his main army, but SHIN is about to max out. He's maxing out with Ling Bane and Hydra.
Here we go. Yeah, only gonna have 1 Viper on the way, and obviously we'll need a little bit of time to suck up some energy, but I'm not sure if this is necessarily the most effective unit composition that SHIN has right now, but I think just from sheer quantity, he should be able to at least chase this pushback.
Oh yeah, and with those blinding clouds, I mean, he can completely shut this down. It all comes down to, of course, the Viper usage. Meanwhile, Banelings, they crash in once again. This time 10 SVs go down. HonMonO was not able to react in time. So finally, we do get some economic damage. Meanwhile, SHIN is still buying time. The Vipers are still gathering energy.
Yeah, while that 4th base is under fire, the tanks aren't quite in range, so yeah, HonMonO's not really able to shell away at it like you typically want to as a Terran player. SHIN looks like he's setting up a bit of a surround.
Yeah, he is setting up, actually going for a run by. Okay, Baneling's gonna be knocking down the front door, then Lynx can flood in at the same time. The 4th base is getting a little bit low, but HonMonO hasn't really been able to gain too much ground.
Yeah, meanwhile, SHIN will be able to bust on through the Banelings. The Banelings are lining up. The SCVs were lining up, but there aren't actually any Banelings left. Tanks are going to fall, and this is a lot of production that's all of a sudden in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, the 4th base is going to go down. That's a lot of Marines. Oh my god, as HonMonO is steaming on forward. And if we don't have enough Banelings at HonMonO, he might just end the game.
Yeah, if we don't have enough Banelings, we don't have enough Lings just to act as a bit of a buffer.
Oh my god.
Huge blinding cloud's going to be thrown down on just about every single Marine, and that's all she wrote. GG is called. SHIN going to be taking that series 2-0.
Wow, GG, well played. SHIN does take the series there. I mean, HonMonO did have a terrifying army, as we saw. It was like, oh my god, like HonMonO, if there aren't enough Banelings, then he's gonna end it. There were enough Banelings. SHIN did have enough, and he was able to just annihilate those Marines.
Pretty much. I mean, it wasn't just the Banelings over there. I mean, obviously that was a choke point, so it was going to be tricky regardless for HonMonO to get out of, but if he could have split, if he could have been able to, just split up his forces and allow his tanks to shell away at the Banelings. Again, a lot easier said than done. I do understand that, but it was still possible for him to keep the push going, if not for that Viper right at the end there, acting as the absolute MVP, surrounding every single unit, whether it was tanks, whether it was Marines, even medevacs, even though medevacs aren't really affected by Blinding Cloud. Everything got covered by Blinding Clouds. Everything fell to the Banelings as a result of that.
Yeah, exactly. That was an insane counterattack as well to kind of force HonMonO to pull the trigger as well, to push deeper and deeper onto creep, and with that, GG. GG, well played. SHIN will advance on, and SHIN has his next opponent ready for him. Looks like the bracket wasn't quite updated, but we'll try to get on top of that, as it sounds like Rex did take down Trigger.
Rex took down Trigger?
Yeah, crazy.
Very nicely done.